Welcome to When Trust Meets AI. I'm your host, Adam Markowitz, and this is the show where we explore how AI is reshaping risk, compliance, and assurance in companies today. Every episode, we sit down with those who are in the trenches, the CISOs, GRC leaders, founders, and analysts who are redefining how companies adopt AI responsibly, manage risk intelligently, and turn trust into a competitive advantage. Stick with us, and you'll learn how to move GRC from the Department of No to the Department of Go. Let's get into it. I've been really kind of hitting on it, like the things that have changed the most in that world with GRC assurance just in the last few years in general. You can even go back to a decade ago, what that world looked like, what it was like to be GRC versus today.
Back then when I started, or halfway through my career, I should say, it was all spreadsheets. The level of inaccuracies and manual updates. So if you weren't using the cloud diligently and you've got version control, I remember just losing it one day because somebody had gone in and changed content and ran off with that file. The rate of efficiency and innovation is nothing compared to what we're about to see or are seeing already with AI. Within 2 to 3 years, the whole landscape's going to look completely different.
It feels like that's one of the many ways we're helping take GRC from this defensive checkbox kind of reactive work to, hey, the machines are doing some of that reactive checkbox type work, and now the humans are actually able to, one, do the strategic work, but then tie it more to the strategic objectives of the company. And that in itself becomes, a revenue driver.
GRC so often historically has been like, they're the paper pushers, or they're the non-technical folks, or that's really like a cost sink. But I'll get on a soapbox all day about that. One, I absolutely think it's a revenue driver. If a GRC professional can take back some of their time, doing spreadsheets or comparing different frameworks and actually push it farther to make sure that we're not using compliance as a substitute for security, but it's a natural byproduct of security, and makes that work stream so much more powerful and offensive security, instead of just checkbox security.
10, 15 years ago, GRC was just back office, get the audits done, and hope I don't have to hear from you. Now the first ones speaking in board meetings. Not just about risk to the company, but how much they're actually accelerating growth, driving revenue. So curious if you've seen that as well from your vantage points.
Definitely been seeing that. It's a great shift, this whole conversation about risk, but there's also a shift towards strategy coming out of GRC or being driven by GRC. And then the final part is, over the past couple of years, there's been a couple of cases where CISOs have personally been prosecuted, and both of them had pretty good endings, fortunately. But that woke up a lot of CISOs to go, I need a very reliable function to detail the risk and keep me out of trouble as much as possible. And that's what the GRC group ultimately would do for you.
Where are you seeing AI have the most impact when it comes to that verification piece, or I guess really any piece, really?
People are rushing to use the tool. It's the next big, new, bright, shiny thing. People feel that if they are not using it, they're being left behind. And where we're seeing that manifest is people implementing it without those guardrails. That's how I got into guardrails, right? They're just sort of, yep, you should be using it. You should use it all the time. If you're not using it, you're falling behind. Without giving them sort of the education or the structure to implement it correctly, safely, in alignment with their business and operational goals. It's going to, replace the, 100-person workforce and make a 10-person workforce that effective, but can also do the same amount of damage that, maybe 190 misaligned folks might do as well.
Are there new risk criteria that we weren't talking about, or your team wasn't talking, your third-party risk team wasn't talking about 4 years ago, that now every new AI vendor goes through a new set of criteria to evaluate?
I typically have very little insight into a third party when they start adding AI capabilities. And companies are moving fast. AI makes it even faster to move. I'm using a solution or a tool. I know what AI it uses, what features it has. Then all of a sudden I pop on tomorrow and there's this new button or box there that's some AI thing. Well, I didn't know about it. Should I be concerned? Do I have the ability to even turn that off if I don't want it? Does that vendor, does that supplier do they give me the options to control it how I want to control it?
We do our best to celebrate the ways in which our employees are using AI, whether it's innovative, was it more efficient? It's still so early. Everyone's learning so much so fast. It's exciting. Yes, it's scary for a lot of reasons.
Invention of the automobile, they didn't have windshields and they didn't have brakes at the beginning, right? All of these things that subsequently got invented and implemented helped make the experience better and safer. We all love to say this in security. Brakes help you go faster. Implement it, but make sure you're doing so with an eye to the risks.
Where are you seeing AI create the biggest impact within your organization, and maybe even how this different than a few years ago when you were within a different company?
AI doesn't pretty stuff up. It shines a big old flashlight on what you're doing wrong. Industries that have high levels of tech debt are going to have the hardest time moving forward with AI. AI enablement. How is it going to be used? How are you going to use it? Are you going to use a SaaS platform, create your own agents, or are you just going to be using ChatGPT? Those questions are still very much in play right now.
Your team has grown to keep up with the growth of the company. What are some of the skill sets and the folks that you've hired? How has that changed over the 5 years of rapid growth?
The number one top skill I look at for people, regardless of the position, regardless of the level, is curiosity. When you see something out there, do you want to go learn about it? Do you want to inspect? Do you dig deeper and find out? And does it kind of gnaw at you that I need to understand how this works? It's almost the hacker mentality of, I want everyone in my organization to have that mindset. There's a common, term that keeps coming up, GRC engineer, or told this to my GRC manager today. In reality, I want every single GRC person to be a GRC engineer. The beauty of Claude Code and ChatGPT and all these tools is it's democratized a skill set that was, exclusively reserved to developers. You don't have to be a Python developer. You just have to have an ideal. You have to know what bad is, what good is, and how to get there.
Let's double click on the GRC engineering. I've heard you say something to the effect of you could hire an engineer and put them in the GRC, or you can have someone that really knows GRC and give them the tools to become a GRC engineer. So just love to hear your thoughts and double click on that.
Any GRC program can go hire an engineer that's a good coder and pull them into the program. But are they really going to understand what GRC work is? Are they going to understand frameworks? I'd rather have a GRC person that spent 10 years in GRC that knows where all the boring, manual, mundane pieces are, because they're going to be the fastest to go fix it.
Internally, we talk about the system of record for GRC, let's say, deploying agents on top of it. They're able to leverage all that contextual data. If you're using just an agent in a silo, it's only be as good as what you're feeding it.
I had a coworker years ago who used to say, let's make the robots do the robot work and the humans do the human work. Drada, for example, has already done an amazing job before the AI even came along at automating a lot of the more boring or rote tasks, right? And then AI has come along and amped that up in a great way. And then I think there's just still that human layer on top of it to say, okay, great, we had AI write a pretty good policy for us. Let's take a look at it, because not everything is applicable, or this could be a little bit better, or, we have this other layer to add into. It sets up your canvas really nicely. And then you come along and do the flourishes. It doesn't replace the human, it augments the human.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think I should have, or you wish I did?
When it comes to being in GRC, there's a fear that AI is going to replace your job, because AI can write policies really well now. Agentic AI can do all sorts of things that you normally would do. So what do you do? The key is to assume you're going to be replaced if you do not get comfortable with leveraging and using AI in your workplace. Become one of those people who is considered a subject matter expert on AI. Start learning it. There's lots of free courses out there. Just start learning it, literally like right now.
What's one piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self if you go back in time?
Don't take things so seriously. Oh my gosh, I was so terrified of what people think and thought and said and wrote to me in emails. As I've gotten older, I just stopped caring. Like me or hate me, there's many people who do not like me. I'm very outspoken. It's fine. I really don't care. And it's incredibly freeing once you reach that point. And that also helps greatly with dealing with your imposter syndrome. I don't have any imposter syndrome because I don't care. The faster young people learn that, or learn to do that, the happier they're going to be.
Well, what's one piece of advice if you could give to your younger self earlier in your career?
You don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one career path, right? Build a career pyramid instead of a career ladder. If you make a choice, you make a career move, it doesn't feed your soul, you can make a new one. And it doesn't have to be in your same field. If career changed at multiple different decades of my life, and every time I've brought different information to enrich my new career path.
One last question for you. If you could go back in time and give one piece of advice to the young Mike Britton early in his career, what would it be?
If I could go back in time, I would tell young Mike Britton to move to California in his 20s and figure out the Silicon Valley world a lot earlier. I've come to the startup game, and this is like almost reinvented myself and really just having the time of my life. I wish I would have done this 20 years earlier or 25 years earlier.
Thanks for joining me for this episode. If today's conversation gave you clarity, a new perspective, or something you want to take back to your team, make sure to share the podcast with another security or GRC practitioner. We're a community, and the more we learn from each other, the stronger our industry becomes. For more insights on trust management and AI-driven GRC, you can always connect with us at Draw. Don't forget to follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. If you really like what you hear, please take the time to rate the podcast so we can help more people discover what happens when trust meets AI. I'll see you on the next episode.